We're still waiting on our engineer to finish our foundation plans, and we thought while we were waiting for the engineer, we'd give you guys a tour of our garden. We've got a little garden out here, vegetables and flowers.
Hi Barb, what's up?
Show you around. Hi Glenn, not much, just showing my garden.
Does this make everybody feel seasick? This is the first time I got to record anything. This is fun.
Okay, let's try take two.
So this is our garden.
So
right there, see it?
So we're waiting on our engineer to finish our foundation plans. We thought we'd give you guys a tour of our garden. It's vegetables and flowers out here in our garden, and we thought we'd show you around. So first...
Well, here, you can take over.
This is the garden. The first thing we did when we moved here and decided this was the place for the garden, we built these raised boxes. So we took some wood and we built 3 raised beds, 3 raised boxes for vegetables. Well, originally intended for vegetables, now there's other things too. And then the next thing we added was this fence. We put a fence all around it. This was just fencing that happened to be on the property already. We just moved it over here. And then...
And we had dogs at the time that would have torn this up, so it was to keep the dogs out, and there's rabbits and things like that that would come and just devastate this. But we built those boxes about 5 years ago.
Right, when we first moved here. That's one of the first things we did. Then when we moved all this brick from the front, it was a front walkway, I decided to build beds out of this brick, and I've got plans for brick beds all the way around the outside of the garden. There's one other brick bed over there. We'll show you that as we get closer. So if you come in to our garden, we have a bell pepper plant here, and we have 2 huge tomato plants that have just gone crazy. These are grape tomatoes, and they're almost ready. They're a little orange still, but they're almost ready, and there is a ton of
I did not know that these plants were going to get that big. We would have put the bell pepper somewhere else.
And then there's lots of green tomatoes on this plant that are going to be turning red here very soon. Ooh, look, there's some right under there that might be just about ready.
Really? There's red ones in there?
Under there, yeah, on that one.
Oh, I see. Cool.
And then this next bed originally had...
4 strawberry plants.
It originally had carrots and something else in it, but they never did come up. So this year I had moved some of my irises from out front where we moved the house. So I put some irises in here just to keep them, someplace to keep them. And then this year we put 4 strawberry plants in here, and they have just gone crazy. We've gotten a few strawberries off of them, but I'm sure next year they'll go gangbusters because they're just really spreading out, taking up this whole bed. So I'll have to eventually move those irises. Then this bed is 2 roses. This first rose was one that I moved from out front, and it's always loved this spot. It likes it in here, and it flowers really well. And then this second rose is one we just bought this year, so it's a little smaller, but it'll be good too. It'll do really well. And then these 2 boxes back here we added year before last, and they're just pre-made boxes that came from where?
I brought them from my work. They had electrical parts in them. The place I was working, it was just the way they delivered electrical parts.
Oh, cool.
Throw them away, so I brought them home.
Awesome. So this has watermelons in it, and you can see we've got 2 baby watermelons growing this year. We've tried to grow watermelon before and never really had any success, but this year we've got little baby watermelons growing. You can see that little tiny one right there too.
Baby watermelon.
And then there's, in this bed, there's a little watermelon growing right there too. I don't know if you can see. Right in there. Little baby watermelons. They're so cute. And the last bed, we put this
bed box spring
trellis up here to try and we planted some raspberries, but they never did grow. I think they just died. But eventually we want to put something here that will grow up this trellis.
We might do some beans, green beans next year.
And then we've got room for a couple more boxes or some other things. We've also have all these pots. These pots were all out front as well. But we've had to move everything out of the way for the house build. So all the pots are here. This last pot has my peony in it, which was beautiful, bright pink blooms on it this year. And then this bed has roses and flowers and ground cover and irises, all in that one too. And then, like I said, eventually these brick beds, I have plans to go all around the outside of the garden.
Just recycling all that brick that was for that walkway. Something to do with it.
We like to reuse. We don't want to throw anything away if we can use it over again.
That's fun.
It is fun.
Good morning. I'm checking strawberries today. This is our part of our little garden. Ooh, we got there's 2 or 3 more going. That one's not done. This one's done. Look how bright that is.
Let me see. Hold it up close.
I'm gonna eat it.
You should wash it first.
Wow. That's not manly, washing them. There's about 3 or 4 going in here, and they've got all these different shoots going on.
Do you think we're on camera?
I think you are. I think half of me is.
Okay, now I'm not on camera.
There we are.
So we wanted to continue our tour of the garden and show you guys our watering system that we created this year. It used to take me an hour to 2 hours to water the whole garden every other morning or so in the summer when it's really hot. So we decided to put in a watering system, like drip irrigation, so that we don't have to stand here and hold the hose while we water. This is how it looks. So the water comes from a hose over there the spigot is on the other side of the tiny house, and it comes up to this 4-way manifold thingy
Yeah.
Glenn put in. You want to explain? Then the PVC pipe comes.
Well, yeah, I hooked up PVC pipe to come over to this bed, and all it does is I hooked up that flexible pipe that you can plug and play all different kinds of little waterers in. So I hooked that up end to end diagonally, and then I run over to the other bed, and I just put in drip irrigation. A lot of this was stuff that I had, or I don't know where I got it, but that's like a lot of the crap I drag home. But anyway, and then we used the PVC over here and brought it underneath, so you can walk through here without having to step over everything. And then the last part is it goes over to this flower bed of roses. And right now it just terminates at the end of the bed until we get the other ones finished being built and filled up.
And it ends right here under this yellow rose.
And it works really well. I'm surprised. There's enough pressure that we've got in there that really keeps the line going, and it keeps them dripping. Then over here, I was out of the PVC fittings, and I was too lazy to go to the store, so I just took the last length of hose that I had and rummaged around for some fittings that worked. Come over here and I put one double drip irrigation line in each one, and this is what's feeding the watermelons now. And it comes over here to our dead raspberries.
And that's where it ends there. But that's so much easier to water the garden this way than to stand here with a hose for 2 hours.
Yeah. And then we have
Turn toward the camera.
then we have an available spigot still to add more or whatnot. We still have to do one for this bed, but I want to be able to start it like down here and branch off both directions when we put in the other beds. But right now I just have this hose, and our spigot on the property is over here on the corner,
On the other side of the tiny house.
on the other side of that green Connex, and that's our furthest spigot. We have two others. We have one by the garage, and then we have another one here in the middle of the backyard. And I plan on probably branching off and bringing one to that far end of the property. Just when I get my backhoe running, we'd trench and put one in. So it's a fun little project. It was a place that we wanted to make sure we could keep our roses alive. So most of it, what we have in here is roses, and we have a few scattered in the other areas, but that's about it. And we've cultivated these locust trees. These were just shoots that came up out of the ground randomly. And I just love the trees so much that I just wanted to do it. And eventually, when the tiny house goes back to its owner and all that, I'll probably build some kind of little gazebo or something in this area, and it will be a nice addition to come out of the backyard and then come across and into a little area like that.
That'll be nice.
So we're gonna go check on our plum trees. And we have our little peach tree out here. I bought that 2 years ago for Mother's Day for Barb, and we had blooms on it 2 years in a row. We were going to have all kinds of peaches, and then frost came and killed them all.
This year it didn't bloom at all.
This year it didn't bloom.
So we're hoping for next year it'll bloom and won't freeze, won't get a late freeze, and then it'll get some peaches on it, hopefully.
And we got to figure out how to prune it. And some people say you want to prune the inside out. Other people say you just want to get the bottoms off. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I think you just want to open it up.
This is one of two plum trees. We actually got three. We gave one to our neighbor. But this is from our good friend Mike and Susan. And these were just suckers that they had growing up in their yard. They're about 50 miles up the road or so. And we planted these, and they look to be doing pretty good. And here's the other one here. And this one's kind of in the middle of a big old wood pile that we have, but probably wait till next year to do any pruning on them. But yeah, so a few things living. And then over there's a maple tree that we saved from Home Depot. That poor little tree fell over at Home Depot, and it was just laying there, and it fallen out of the bucket. And I asked them what they were going to do with it, and they said, well, they were going to throw it away. And then after a ordeal of trying to talk to somebody who was capable of making the decision, we ended up buying it for about 20 bucks. And wasn't sure if it was a good deal or not, but it survived and is doing well. And it's actually been transplanted once from that spot because my buddy that was digging the trench for the electrical accidentally dug it up. But it's surviving. The end.